Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Now, this episode I want to talk about the story that binds us. The story that binds us. Now, have you ever wondered why is it that oftentimes, when we watch a movie, we watch a show, we listen to a story or watch a latest music MTV, we get such connection. Or sometimes there's no connection at all. And why is it that sometimes when we watch a certain scene or a certain episode or certain clip that it really moves us? Even though we're not there, we're watching a pre-recording. Why is it that these stories have such a binding effect on our memories, on our history, on our emotions, on our dreams, on our purpose and values? Well, in this episode, we're going to discuss just that. Well, it's been often said that words have power, but visuals have the ability to transcend just that power, but to bring you to another different realm altogether, to entreat you, to enthrall you to a different world altogether. And I truly believe in this, that what we see will influence what we believe, and what we believe will influence what we say, and what we say will influence what we do. And what we do will influence how we experience the world around us and the results that we get from it. Too often, many people want to get to the next thing, the next best thing, the next best thing. Right, let's go for the next thing. But they're not really understanding what is the story behind that. So I encourage you to do this one thing, right? What is the recent stories or the recent videos or clips that you came across that really impacted you? And ask yourself this question. What were you experiencing during those moments? What were you experiencing towards those moments? Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to break down what really happened there. I remember one time I was watching this, music video, and it really touched my heart because when I first heard the song, I had a different image in my mind, right? But when I watched the music video together with the image, now it tells a different story. Tell me the story of your heart, and it will reveal everything and the values, the principles, the purpose, the meaning that you hold true in your own world. If you ever get a chance, try this out. Find a song, right? Before watching the MTV, before watching the music video of the song, listen to the song first. And as you listen to the song, I want you to think about what picture came to mind and write those things down. What feelings came to mind? Write those things down. What were you thinking of? What were you experiencing? Did that touch you? Did that felt like just a normal song? Did that felt like a song that really connected with you, really conveyed the message deep within you? If those were happening for you, I want you to take the moment to pen those things down and ask yourself, why did those things happen? Why did that connection happen for you? Why did that story really impacted you? The story of those words and the melody lines or the harmony lines. That's one. Then after that, I want you to watch the music video from that song and see when your preconceived ideas or your presuppositions of that song, how it's conveyed across in your own world versus how it's conveyed across by the author's world. And you see a very interesting, distinct differences, right? And that allows us to unravel a little bit more about our own ideas about our own lives. Sometimes we call it our own preconceptions or our own presuppositions of the world. And one of the important elements here in understanding the story that binds us is first understanding what are those elements, what are those things that really reveals our hearts, reveals who we are, reveals our preconception, reveals our preconceived ideas. Those revelation allows us to understand and appreciate us for who we are. And that is one point, right? The second thing that we're going to do is this. We ask ourselves, how did that came about? Why did that trigger such an emotion? What memories in our past really brought that to life? You see, songs, stories, visuals have that power to transcend what is spoken at the moment and bring back to mind memories that were stored in the past or recent memories that had a significant emotional response. You see, as human beings, all this are processes that our minds and our brains and our physiology have in place to put us in a safe space or to protect us. The reason why we have a strong emotional response in certain memories of us, it's actually our safety mechanism, our internal safety mechanism. The stories that resonate with us most are also an evidence of what keeps us safe inside. You see, sometimes in life, we feel unsafe, even though we don't mean physically unsafe. We just feel emotionally unsafe. We just feel inwardly unsafe. We just feel that we cannot be who we are. It almost feels that we always have to put on a certain facade because that's what society demands of us. Because that's what the teams requires of us. Because that's what the world requires of us. So we have a certain facade, right? And it almost appears that we get tired, we get exhausted because we have to put up this front all the time. And I often say this: will the real you please rise up? Now, granted, there are merits to having a certain professional hat, a certain outcome. If we all just let loose and be who we are, then it is going to be a little bit very challenging for a normal conversation to happen. But there are settings where we have to find place and time and a little small community where we can be real with who we are. And that's the power of coaching conversations. As a life coach, I've spoken to many, many individuals, and many of the sessions that I talk to are always held in such strict confidence because the clients trust me. And I don't tell people who my clients are because what's the point? Unless the clients are okay and open to share, for me to share their stories, then I would. Otherwise, what happens is that we create a space for them to have that deep inner conversation. That otherwise, there's no one else in their life that they can open with, they can be vulnerable with, that they can just be who they are, right? And I always say this: to brave your story is to accept the story within. Nothing's wrong with that story, it's just your story. But can we understand where the story is from? Where's the birth of the story, and the story is still being written. And because the story is still being written, we can't change the past story, but we can change how the story will go. We can increase the opportunities, we can increase the possibilities for where the conversations of the story will lead us to. You see, the spirit will lead us to different places, right? The story will lead us to different opportunities, different doors of magical insights or mysterious insights or places that we never quite understood. And that's the beauty of the story within. The story that binds us are the stories that have a close connection with our hearts. And what I would encourage you to do is this. We have to evaluate whether those stories are there to empower us or those stories actually disempower us. Now, sometimes, it's not about trying to get empowerment all the time. Some people need that inward pain to remind us of why life truly matters. If I recall some stories in the past with this, right? Some warriors in the past, they would actually scar themselves for the number of kills they had. There is pain in those scars, but it reminds them of something. Now, sometimes in ancient times as well, people have certain tattoos to remind them. It's not without pain, but to remind them of something, of a certain significance in their life. The pain that binds us, the story that binds us, is actually our pain story, or the story that elevates us. You see, if we want elevated hope, we need to understand that story which binds us to the purpose, to that outcome, to that meaning. And in my upcoming series of Brave Your Story, I have this interesting ideas that I want to bring across, that I want to share with the world around me. That, you know what? Your story is still being written. You are the author, and how do you be a more proficient author is first understanding what are those pre-ideas, precognition, presuppositions that's underpinning all the stories, and allowing you to have the awareness that because you are the author of your story, while you are the actor in your story, it doesn't mean you don't have power. Because you have the author, so you have the ability to step out of the story. You also have the ability to be in the story. You have the ability to transform that story. What is the story that binds you today? And I want to encourage you to have this conversation with me. If you're looking for a coach to really take you on this journey, may I encourage you to have a little conversation. Find a coach that you can engage with. If you want to reach out to me, reach out to me and say, Jana, can I have a conversation with you? Right? I'd like to have more coaching sessions with you to go deeper than ever before. There you have my little thought on the story that binds us, binds our hearts, binds our emotions, binds our thoughts, binds our purpose, binds our vision, binds our destiny, binds our dreams. Know this, that everyone has a story worth to tell. And I want to encourage you to brave your story. We may not just brave it overnight, but to brave it one day at a time. One day at a time till we find that personal congruence, the personal coherence, the personal alignment that we're truly desiring. In our human life, far too long we've put on a certain mask. Far too long we've put on a certain self. But it's time for us to rise up. It's time for us to step out. It's time for us to say, hey, you know what? I'm tired of putting on false front. Let's rise up. Let's brave our story today. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like, subscribe to this channel, give us a thumbs up, and share this with a friend. And until next time, I truly believe in this, that coaching truly changes lives.